Here we go. Number 5, nightmare of note investing, bookkeeping. Throw it at us. Hopefully, I didn't make this
So
mistake.
I know we have a CPA, so I'm a little intimidated to talk about this a little bit, but
Barney's nice.
yeah, yeah. So this is one of the struggles I even have with my clients, because what happens when you get your tax return? You just sign off and you send it, right? Like very few people actually look at it and does it match my books and are all my numbers there? Because it's intimidating and not everybody understands the tax return, right? And that's why we have awesome CPAs who do that. But you need to have a general idea of what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of other numbers on that tax return that you're not going to have any idea where they come from, but you should be able to find your numbers in there somewhere, right? And so this was a girl that I was working with, and I actually do her books, right? And so we did her books 1 year, everything was great. The next year we did her books, and she called and she said, I have to pay $9,000 more this year in taxes, and I wasn't prepared for that. And I don't know why, because both years were very similar,
Mhm.
right? Like very similar. And I said, well, why don't you send me both returns and I'll look at them, and I'll see if I see what the difference is. And the only difference, and so first of all, I'll tell you that this little print screen I have here comes from the Schedule C. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's when you have an LLC, that's part of your tax return, right? And so these are the fields that your CPA would be working with and trying to fill in. And so, I try to line the books up to match these type of things, right? And so the only difference is the first year they had office expenses of just over $10,000. And the second year there was no office expense. I mean, it was like 200.
Whoa.
So that was a huge expense the first year that she got to take it, right? So she paid less taxes. But I'm comparing it to her books, and I said, we don't have $10,000 on your P&L of office expenses. So I don't know what this is. You need to ask your CPA what this is. And just for the record, her CPA's office is her uncle. Her uncle didn't do her taxes, but it was just a mistake. Like that $10,000 just should not have been there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oops.
And so, so obviously this next year she had to pay $9,000 more to the IRS than what she was planning to take. And so, go ahead.
No, I say not a fun thing to have to owe the IRS anything at all, but
Yeah.
No, especially because this was not a large investor with lots of money, and when you're
and I presume she owed money for last year too, because it was not supposed to be in there.
Yes, yeah. Well, no, because she keeps money out, right? And she plans. She does well. She plans to pay her taxes. So the prior year was fine, but this year now, she had saved money, but she was short $9,000 because she didn't plan on, she planned on having the same book of business basically. So I really, really try to encourage people, like when you get your tax return, compare your numbers. Like you should have your P&L and you should have your balance sheet and start looking and just have a general idea. I sent my tax return back 4 times last year to my CPA because just simple things on my P&L were not on there. My postage wasn't on there, for example. Something really simple, okay? So you just have to, you really have to be involved in that process, I guess is what
Yeah. Again, you don't have to know everything about this to make sure you do it correctly. You have to know the right person and the right people around you to do it correctly. And that's one thing about the space in general, right? Knowing the person to turn to for questions and curiosities is key in this space. And this space is small, so you can ask the question of, who's doing bookkeeping for a majority of people, right? And you're gonna hear Debbie's name mentioned many, many times. So feel free, you have to understand that bookkeeping is an art, just like investing is. And that what we're doing is in traditional real estate. You can't bring it to your rental or your property manager, CPA, or bookkeeping to do it. It just ran differently. There's a lot of nuances that we just aren't common in our space,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest mistake. So feel free in the chat if you have particular questions. We'd love to take some Q&A now, and just kind of go through some scenarios. Please don't be too specific on deals, and whatnot. So hopefully
Yeah.
that helps out with people,
Yeah.
and whatnot. So
Well, and
cool.
hopefully, hopefully a few little horror stories, just really reiterate the importance of your bookkeeping because, and it's not just because I do it, but your bookkeeping is the most important part of your business because that is how you invest. That's where your money goes. Like you just have to do it. You're running a business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Very
we
interesting.
got a question regarding just the webinar in general. Yes, this is recorded. Replay will be on our YouTube channel as well as our podcast. Feel free to take a look at those two things. I put a link in there. You can go right to that. You'll link to the podcast as well as the YouTube channel. This will be kind of broken up and a little bit more smoothly and put on YouTube, hopefully over the weekend. My son's doing the editing, so hopefully the video games don't get in the way of that. But it's good to see the fact that people are taking a consideration and that this is an important part of your business. Just like servicing, just like your attorney, you have your keys to your pieces that make you successful. And I don't think anyone here would play attorney or play servicer if they're doing a business entity. So please take this into consideration. And I'm going to ask this question before anyone else does. I'm sure someone's going to ask a question. Debbie, are you taking clients right now?
I am, yes. I do have an
Right.
assistant. Yeah, I have an
So
assistant who helps me, and I'm interested in adding to that. So I am this year. Yes.
awesome. So I put the link in there for the webinar and podcast and all that stuff. Please feel free to take a look at both of them. I'm also re-putting in Debbie's information. There's a link there. Please feel free to take a look at that. Click on that. You're going to get Debbie's information, and she'll reach out to you and ask questions. So is there anyone out there that has some specific questions regarding an asset or a note or a scenario that weren't sure about? Keep them general if you do. If we do get any questions, that's fine. I'm sure there'll be more and people are gonna be a little bit shy. And that's when you just go ahead and fill out that quick form and you can ask Debbie directly and keep it private. Debbie, when you get these books in hand, what is the best way for the investor to kind of send the information? Are they giving you a log on to their Chase bank account, or how does that typically work for you?
So the way I do it with my clients is at the end of the month. So, I'm not involved in their day-to-day business, right? My goal is to get them a good profit and loss and a good balance sheet so they can review their numbers and then they'll have it when they need to do their taxes, right? So the end of the month, I usually have bank logins, credit card. I have logins for all the servers. So my clients don't have to send me that data unless they just want to. I do have two clients who still send it to me every month. But banks have an accountant login, right? I can't spend your money. I can't move your money around. And so at the end of the month, we download everything. We put it all in the books. And then I send my clients a profit and loss and a balance sheet, and it's in a spreadsheet format. So I can highlight things and ask questions, and then they can mark it up and return it to me. But it is a P&L and a balance sheet. I can just export it to Excel, right? And then they'll send me the comments back. But I can get 80 or 90% of it done without their input, right? Once I kind of know what's going on, we do all the breakouts before it gets to you. But sometimes, the bank has deposit. And when I click on it, you can't see an image. So, that's the kind of thing like, I'm like, hey, here's a deposit. I can't tell what this is for. And so we just do a monthly cycle like that.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
as you could probably see, one of your clients brought his name up here. Nick on LinkedIn. So you've saved him some nightmares. And you say all of that stuff. Nick, I appreciate the shout out to Debbie.
Hi, Nick.
That's awesome. So that's awesome. Guys, when we're buying these notes, it's very easy to get distracted. We kind of do a lot of things. We're doing marketing, we're doing emailing, we're evaluating assets, we're talking to our servicers, talking to attorneys. We need to take more things off our plate. And this is one thing you take off your plate. Right. It's simple. It's easy. So please feel free to reach out to Debbie. Debbie, are you to be speaking any other locations? Are you doing kind of a future webinars or conferences? 'Cause I know we saw you at Node Expo. Are you be attending anything coming up in the
Well, it
spring?
sounds like I need to check out DME for May.
For sure. Yeah.
No, but I'll do these podcasts in certain groups along the way, just when they're kind enough to ask me to join in. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, and I enjoy that. It's a great way to kind of see everybody who's out there, because I, work from my home office. So like everyone, we're not around people every day, right?
Yeah.
This is true.
And I can tell you, people, it's an expense, right? When you're just first starting out, and now you've got this another expense to pay a bookkeeper. But for some people, my goal is that you don't have to be looking at this report every week, right? Like I said, I'm doing it monthly. And so once a month, if my clients can sit down and look at their books, some don't look at it for 3 or 4 or 5 months, right? But at some point you are looking at the nitty gritty of your business. But I do monthly, but I can do quarterly for someone, or like 6 times a year, or every other month. So there's ways that it can be more affordable for everyone who's just starting out. Because let's say you just have one note, maybe quarterly is plenty, right? You're going to pay out your JV partner quarterly, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it can be affordable.
Yeah.
So, this is such an awesome time. You are so gracious with your ability to share your information, share your knowledge, and open, honest. I think I've tagged you on a million things. I'm looking back at YouTube. We did a call back in 2018. Probably one of my first, videos I did with a couple of people on there. But back then you were still the person to go to. So the notoriety and the name has been around for a while. So Debbie's not a fly on the wall. She's been around for a long time. So please reach out to Debbie and reach out to her. If you have questions, reach out and ask questions. I know that the information is in the link, so go ahead and do that. And I'll let Nathan come to an end here. See if he can twist our question to make it appropriate, I guess.
So
with
first of all,
that in mind, though, let me just say
yeah.
thank you for that. And I really appreciate having the time with you guys.
I'm curious, Debbie, are you investing in any kind of real estate or notes yourself?
So I only do passive, right? So
Okay.
Because I don't have time to manage.
Yeah.
So I'm a passive note investor.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, but no rentals or flips or any, I don't have any of that stuff going on. A lot of my clients do, but
okay.
Yeah.
So then as you're doing everybody's books, you get to see a lot of the numbers. Have you seen any changes over the last little while, and any kind of predictions for the future of where things seem to be going?
No, but I will say I only passively invest with my clients because I can see their books. So,
okay.
That's how I have that comfort level, right?
Yeah.
I have not. I'm trying to think if I can see anything that stands out, but yeah, I don't. That's probably a little bit more for you guys in the note, you guys note experts, because what I'm seeing in the books as far as performing, not performing, like none of that seems to be different. Some people obviously focus on one or the other. So no, I don't really even see a change. Like even if they had performing notes that have stopped performing, like that doesn't even seem like it's any more or any less. Just the typical,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
It'll be interesting to see what happens here over time, but it's good to
Yeah.
get that perspective as well.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be, because I'm a real estate agent, I feel like there are going to be many more opportunities in the note
Mhm.
world because people have purchased homes too high in this last craziness, and they're going to be upside down. And I was just dealing with one person that they have to sell their house now after a year, and they got it listed for $90,000 less than what they
Wow.
paid.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
going to see a
absolutely.
lot of
That's starting.
people, they're not going to be able to afford those homes that they've been buying,
Ugh.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Cross your fingers, things kind of fix up, but we're not sure where we're going to see. So, well, Debbie, it was a pleasure. Hold on for after hours. Everyone else, feel free. You catch a recording on YouTube.
Yeah.
We will be back next week. We'll be having Steve Lloyd. He's a very motivational speaker, as well as he's raised hundreds of millions of dollars in capital. So if that's something you want to learn about, stay tuned.